Hi, I'm Catalina Maria Johnson. On behalf of Beat Latino and ChicagoMusic.org, I'm talking with visual artist and indie musical artist from Barranquilla, but now based in Toronto, Canada. Lido Pimienta. Lido, great to see you, great to talk to you, and looking forward to your visit here to Chicago.
Yes, very excited to be there. Thank you so much.
So tell me a little bit, Lido, tell us a little bit about your music. It's fascinating to me. It does, on some level, remind me of Colombia, or refer to Colombia, or certainly the great cantadoras, the Afro-Colombian cantadoras. But yet it's very, very contemporary. So tell us a little bit about your musical creation, how you create music, and the kinds of things that inspire you and that you bring to the mix.
Yeah, I'm definitely a child of Colombia. I'm definitely a child of cantadora tradition, and my family is not really musical per se, but definitely my dad was a big music lover, and people would say how he was kind of crazy because the music that he liked wasn't like normal, and I think I got that, so for me, I recognize how important it is to be true to your roots, and how important it is to be inspired and know exactly where that inspiration is coming from. But I also know that, I am, as well as like a child of Colombian tradition, I am an internet kid, so I think that's when the contemporary thing comes in, because I cannot deny it. And I also really hate labels, and I also really hate normal stuff, and I really hate, anything that's heteronormative. I don't like it. So I find that whenever I mix something, or whenever something is different, then I can find myself in it. So creating it, just it starts with my voice, because I am mainly a singer, and then I will like sit over there or in the other organ that I have there, and then I like start playing around with chords and harmonies that can help me kind of put it together, and then you create a beat, and then that's it. Like, there's no real like formula or whatever, because each song is a narrative. Every song is a story, and in this album, the stories are very personal. When in like Color, I was speaking from maybe a third person. I was speaking from uh, the perspective of a farm, or like talking to like my friends, because I had this utopian vision, or this idea of Colombia that was so skewed because of my youth, because like growing up there and seeing things under like a positive light, and then you grow up and you go back, and then you realize how machismo is like so huge, and like women's bodies are not respected. Like, you walk down the street and you will be harassed, and abortion is illegal, and all these kinds of things that is just so stupid, are still happening. So I find that right now that's kind of where I am, trying to cope with that. So that's my inspiration for this album, and that's how I'm kind of creating now, just coming from like a way more honest place, and I feel like, people are going to respond well to it because it's so real.
So you were talking about Color, which is your last album, and then now you're preparing La Cabeza, the Papers.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because that's such a strong, we don't have a papers in the traditional religion at all. It's a very strong feminine image. So I'm curious as to why you chose La Cabeza as in the context of your creation.
So the story is great, basically. La Papesa came, like, at first I was gonna name the album Noir, which means black in French. And if you read it in Spanish, no ir, it's like don't go, or you don't want to go, or I don't want to go. But it also was no oír, or do not listen. So kind of, I really like the like play of words, and I really love when a word can, the connotations of a word, so it can mean different things. So I was talking to my friend Ulises Hadid, who's this like amazing Venezuelan singer songwriter, and I was going through a really rough time because of like my separation with my baby daddy. Uh, I'm sorry, I'm very unorthodox, but anyways, um, I was going through a really hard time and like realizing like wow, like I am basically entering, a single mother territory, which I which I was for a long time, even before we came to terms, and decided that like each is gonna go, in different ways. But it was very difficult for me to understand or realize even the notion of raising my kid by myself without like even thinking that my mother did it. Like my dad died when I was 6, and my mom had 3 kids, and she did it by herself. So I'm like, well, and in Colombia, one of the most racist freaking places in the world, as an indigenous woman raising 3 babies. So I'm like, okay, like I can definitely do this. And then Ulysses was reading the tarot cards because he's like an avid student of Alejandro Jodorowsky, and Jodorowsky has like psychomagia, and he kind of tweaked the tarot cards. And I'm definitely not religious. Like I'm not. Like I am borderline atheist. I can't say I'm an atheist because I I believe in Mother Nature. Hot mess. Anyways, so he's reading the tarot cards and he says to me, "Girl, you gotta dry those tears, girl. You gotta wipe them, and you have to just relax and read these cards." And he told me, "Okay, take 3 cards out. And then the first one is where you're now. The second one is where you want to be. And the third one is what you need to do in order to get to where you want to be." And that third card was the High Priestess, the Popes Apapes. And basically in the card, there's like a female, and she's sitting on a throne. She has a headpiece, and she has a book, like an open book on her lap. And basically the headpiece represents the girl like not distracting herself. And I thought that was very powerful because she's focusing on her book, which signifies knowledge, So the way that the way that he was reading it and interpreting it to me, it really hit me. And it was basically, well, if I want to be happy, I need to learn how to be independent. And I need to be happy in my own body. And I need to be in papesa mode, which is don't let the outside bother you and focus so that you can be great. And ever since I kind of like internalized that, then I started playing with people here in Toronto, because I moved to Toronto and I had to start from zero because I was living in London, Ontario, and I had like my thing there. And I used to work with my ex. Like we did the album together, and he was like essential for the first album to happen. So I didn't even have the confidence to do it by myself. Again, I was like, how is even inspiration gonna come? But it totally did, because as a woman, you just survive, and as a woman, you struggle, and like you kind of have to justify yourself so much. So just questioning that, and like why do I even have to question myself? Like why can't I just be? And then songs just started happening, and now I'm like, we're super close to finishing the album, and working with new people in Toronto, and that's it. Like that's the story. Like it's basically like surviving, and finding yourself and being happy with yourself.
I can't wait to hear it. It sounds amazing. It really does. I mean, I love the last album, but it'll be really fascinating to get this new album with with the whole kind of new spirit, new paper spirit and everything. That'll be very exciting. So tell me, is I see behind you there's the Canadian flag. So you moved
Yeah.
from Colombia, Barranquilla, to
Yeah.
Canada, and then to your right, I believe there's a lot of cards up there. Is that part of the new project? Is that what I
Yes.
see?
Those are sticky notes.
Uh huh.
So basically, sorry, that's this is my album here. This is the album.
Wow.
This is where I'm at right now. So these are the songs, and then these are the people that are collaborating in the album. And then whenever they send vocals or arrangements or whatever, then I like check it off the list. Here is like the stuff that I have to do. So like applying for grants or sending like stage spots to venues. This is the gigs that I have coming up, so I don't forget about them.
Well, don't forget about Chicago.
Yeah, no, it's right here. It's right here.
Great.
My 21st, right here. So yeah, that's some pictures of my baby. So that's it. Like that's. Yeah, that's my. It's just kind of how I'm organized because I'm a visual person, so I need lots of reminders because I can be in La La Land like really easily because I just want to like play. I just want to make music, and so that's the thing. Like as a I'm an independent artist, so if I'm not on top of emails and things and booking, then nothing's gonna get done.
And you also draw, Lido, very well. I mean, I love your drawings, and I've seen like a Flickr collection, which is pretty
Yeah,
amazing. And that
yeah,
and that's part of your like album inserts, or I hope we'll get some of those with La Papesa.
yeah. I'm already thinking about that. The album art. I'm going to be working with this artist called Corey Moranis, and she's like a food artist. She makes these crazy cakes that look like like gaudy gay palaces, but in
Wow.
cake form. It's great, and yeah, we the concept for it is basically like me looking in like my world, and like my world comes out of my throat, and then my throat there's gonna be a lot of things that are dear to me. So like my son is gonna be riding an elephant, and then there's gonna be water, and the water is gonna be filled with pink dolphins, which are it's like I love pink dolphins, and like not a lot of people don't know about them. And as like stuff for the album, I'm probably definitely gonna have some prints. I did this like one of a kind series, like Rizzo prints. I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah.
So it's a poster.
Wow, very cool. I love it. I love that blue. Awesome. And
Yeah.
and they're made. What material are you working with there?
This is a Rizzo, so it's like a silk screen machine. So if a digital printer and silk screen had a baby, that would get a risograph. And
Cool.
yeah, I don't know if that made any sense, but
And have you been drawing as long as you've been singing? Because I know you've mentioned you sang since you were very young. So
yeah,
wow.
yeah, I can't even separate the two, and that's why like the first album was called Color, because color, you know, each song is a color. Each song is a color, and colors are very powerful, and it's attached to mood and feeling. So, first I was gonna call it chromatic circle because I feel that as humans we are a chromatic circle. So the chromatic circle, where it's like all like
Mm-hmm.
the primary and secondary colors and like the grays and it's like a spin little thing. So
Wow.
so that's just kind of like how I identify myself. Like I'm just I'm just not one thing. And I think it applies to humans. That we're just not one thing. Like we're like this rainbow of emotion and physicality and fear and love, right?
Wow, wow. Well, I really can't wait to hear you live here in Chicago for the very, very first time. And
Yes.
celebrate Clark Street. That's going to be an amazing festival, and so glad to have your presence and witness your music and your art, which is fascinating. Loved it for a while. Thank you for spending some time with us, Lido. Appreciate it very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And see you in Chicago. Chicago.